El Bird of Prey 5. El Karuga.
Kapla!
Kapla.
I'm going to take this opportunity, however, to suggest that we all hail Garoga. That's all I'm saying.
Forgive me, Doctor. I'm receiving a number of distress calls. I don't doubt it.
Y'all remember to tip your waitresses. Have a mighty fine night.
If you come in peace, surrender or be destroyed. If you're here to make war, we surrender.
Both good. The important thing is I'm meeting new people.
When the appointed hour arrives, the Marauders will deactivate their cloaking devices and begin transporting Klingon shock troops directly to the landing zone.
Landing zone? Where? Tell me.
Why not? Your feeble weapons will be useless against us. We will kill all your males and take your females to mate with.
All right. Now the Federation's taking over, whether you like it or not. You people, you've been running this planet like a piecework factory. From now on, it's going to be under one roof. You're going to run it like a business. And that means you're going to make a profit.
Look at these 3 words written larger than the rest, with a special pride never written before or since. Tall words, proudly saying, "We the people."
Scanning. Indications negative at this time.
Hi, I'm Nicole DeBoer. I played Lieutenant Ezri Dax on DS9, and I welcome you to Bird o' Prey 5 channel. Hail Karoga.
Hello world, it's Bird o' Prey 5, Kapla, and yes, that was a kissing Dax stuck in there in the opening credits. John Araki with a early 99-cent super sticker before the stream began with the poop emoji. Thank you, thank you, John Araki, for the super poop emoji and the triggering of an early kissing Dax on the stream to get everything started. Although a somber day on this September 11th, 2023. Oh man. Just when things were getting better a bit. And don't get me wrong. Medically, physically, without, and this is me knocking wood and doing all the superstitious stuff I normally do before I hate to say things are looking good, because inevitably I say that, and the next day, I've taken 3 punches to the gut, and I'm, God forbid, in the hospital. Anyway, point is, today, yesterday and today, the day before, have been decent days. I've had my appetite back. Mama Prey is happy. I know she is. She doesn't have to say it, but I know there's a part of Mama Prey that is tearing up with joy when I had not 1 egg, but 2 eggs for breakfast this morning. I asked for 2 eggs instead of 1. I used to eat 3 eggs every day for years for breakfast, and then I'd have lunch just a couple hours later. But then in all the months it's been getting down and down, I went from 3 eggs to 2 eggs to 1 egg and I didn't even finish it all the time. And in the last couple of days, I was hungry. I've been hungry again. I had 2 eggs. This morning, I probably could have had 3, but I didn't want to rush it. And then I had lunch. I had a full peanut butter and jelly sandwich, not all that much later. And yesterday, I was so hungry, I had a Royale with cheese. Yeah, well, that I blame. I think it was Elihu for mentioning a Royale with cheese on the Bio Mike stream over the weekend. I was like, God damn, I want a Royale with cheese. And for all those of you who don't know, I'm sure you all know, Mama Pray doesn't know what the hell a Royale with cheese is. A Royale with cheese, Mama Pray, is what they call the quarter pounder with cheese in France. And you would know that if you had ever seen the movie Pulp Fiction, because that was one of the famous lines in Pulp Fiction, where he talks. You know what they call a Big Mac in France is? No, it's like, oh, it's called the Royale with cheese. The quarter pound. I'm sorry, not a Big Mac. The quarter pounder with cheese. It's called the Royale with cheese. So it's the same sandwich, but it tastes different when you call it a Royale with cheese. It's fancier. It's I don't know. You know, anybody can get a quarter pounder with cheese. It's much more worldly to get a Royale with cheese, and all this also because I'm upset that they closed my local Burger King. They closed my local Burger King, and now if I want Burger King, I've got to order it from a place that's twice as far away, which really isn't the worst thing in the world, except that it's a smaller Burger King. They have a smaller menu. They don't have the full breakfast menu. I can't get French toast sticks, whatever. I can still get and I did over the weekend, get croissant, egg, and cheese sandwiches. In fact, I got 3 over the weekend. I had 1 for breakfast, 1 for lunch, and 1 for breakfast the next day. And actually, the first day, I could only eat half the croissant and the egg. The second, for lunch, I had almost the whole croissant and egg. And the third day for breakfast, I had the complete croissant and egg, and I was still hungry. So that's, and to be honest, Mama Pray got some meals to heat up from Fresh Direct, which is a grocery delivery service. And one of them was, super delicious. It was pasta with mushrooms and a cream sauce. I could eat 2 of those, 3 of those probably. Then the next day, she got a chicken masala, which was again pasta, but unfortunately the chicken not too good. But the masala sauce and the pasta was very good still. So that was still plenty of food for anyway, the point is, I've been eating. I've been eating quite a bit. I've eaten more in the last 3 days than I've eaten in 6 weeks. And yeah, sure, I've been snacking in addition to eating the meals. So my for whatever reason, my appetite is back, and I will hopefully, I think at this point, I should be that I will gain some weight. If I can keep up what I'm eating at this point, I think I will be able to gain some weight. And let me tell you, I definitely need to gain some weight because I feel my as I put my hands on my skin, I'm feeling bones and I'm feeling muscle and or not so much muscle, but I'm feeling voids, holes, tendons and things, pieces of myself I shouldn't be able to feel. My skin is so tight. My skin is getting so tight across bones. It's scary, and it even scared me. So I hope I can keep this up for a while. We'll see. Anyway, that's the quick medical update. Yeah, so last Friday when I talked to you guys, I think me having that panic attack and calling the ambulance, kind of like a hitting rock bottom, and yeah, Mama Pray agrees. And you know what? Maybe I should have done that sooner for all. Maybe I needed that reality check a little sooner. But you know what? I'm happy. I'm in a decent place right now. So we make the best of it for as long as we can. Hakeem says, to be honest, Kapla Hakeem says first in the chat, Hakeem, early at 10:28 a.m. this morning. And YouTube, the YouTube chat gods, let us keep the chat today for some reason. It's like they know better now. Hakeem says, to be honest, I forgot until I read your title. And that, of course, was the title today for Bed Life, Never Forget, ? Monday, September 11th, 2023. Yeah, Hakeem, I remember myself last year completely forgetting. I remember forgetting what day it was until I saw it on my own web forum on JUOT.net. It has automatically it shows a 9/11 remembrance message. And if I had not programmed that myself all those many years ago, I would have completely forgotten 9/11 last year. And this year, Mom will pray, she had forgotten it until we woke up and it was on the news. Yesterday, yesterday she had forgotten. She was bothering her for days. She knew there was something. She knew there was something that needed to be remembered. Yeah. She couldn't remember what it was. You know what? And then when she did remember, she felt bad. I don't think we need to feel bad. As they say, time heals all wounds. Although that's not 100% true in practice, but time does heal a lot of wounds. And I said this last year, and again, they're still reading the names of the dead on the news. And again, I'm going to say this again. I was all for reading the names of the dead the first year, the first 5 years, the first 10 years, which it was supposed to stop. The initial plan was to read the dead for 10 years. Of course, once we got to 10 years and they tried to stop it, everybody's, and including me, was like, no, keep going. And so the politicians relented, no. In those days, no one was going to be a politician who went against 9/11's family wishes. But you know what? By the 15th year, I started wondering, did we make a mistake? And the reality is, yes. Yes, we're too close. I'll admit it. We New Yorkers, myself, and God forbid the people who've lost loved ones, we're too close. We are not being rational. And there's a reason that the victims of crimes don't make the decisions as to the punishment. Okay? And don't get me wrong, there's been the Star Trek episodes that say, well, the crime victims are the ones who are, most obvious to decide the punishment of those who are guilty. And I understand that logic, but in a civilized society, we have to be dispassionate. And we have to realize that the victims are not the ones to choose the punishment of the crime. It's just not, it's not fair. It's not good for society. It's not good for anyone, especially the victims. And in this case, once again, through no fault of our own, but just the fact that we let emotions run deep, and we let emotions take center stage, and we bow down to the emotions, we now have generations of victims, including children who didn't exist, who were not born. For years, children who were not born for years after 9/11. I saw somebody on stage today, must have been 15 years old or younger. That 9/11 was 22 years ago. This was a teenager, and she was crying for a family member she never got to meet. And I'm sorry. God forbid. I tear up maybe when I learn, when we talk about, my grandfather, Mama Pray's dad, who lived to a couple of years before I was born. And Mama Pray's mom even. Okay, I tear up for that. But I've had number of uncles who died in the years before I was born. Some died after I was born. I don't remember them. Yeah, it's sad, I guess, but I shouldn't be crying over these people. They were never part of my life.
I need to disagree.
Oh, Mama Pray with a disagreement. Please, Mama Pray.
Okay. I also saw those children today speaking. And at first I thought the same thing. But then, now I'm going to cry. Then I thought about Charlie and Dad O'Prey. And Charlie will never know him. And he never knew his grandson. And that had nothing to do with 9/11. But it's sad. It's so, so sad.
It's sad to you, sad to me, sad to Sis O'Fray. Is it fair to put that sadness on Charlie?
You have a point.
Charlie, less we force it upon him, he will never be sad over that.
Because it's something he never knew. Okay, son. You made your point. But I'm still sad.
I understand.
But you have a point.
I understand.
We don't force it on him. Let him know he had a grandfather.
It's all, yeah,
I mean,
we can all
know
talk.
you had grandfather. I talk about him.
Yes, and
You would have rather have met him.
I
but you
certainly
never
would have
did.
rather to have met him, but the reality is I didn't meet him, and like I said, I even what we've talked about is enough to know that I miss somebody that I know certainly would have loved me,
Oh, yeah.
and certainly life would have been better had I known him,
Oh, yeah.
but
You didn't.
I didn't, and I feel like I already have enough emotions, and sadness out there that to add more probably not necessarily.
Not a good thing. I hear you. Go back to what you were saying.
And the thunder begins
Yes.
to remind us that maybe they are out there. They're out there and they are listening.
Hello, everybody. Sorry I didn't say hello. Now I'm
And Hakeem with $1.49 super sticker for a Royale with cheese. Thank you, Hakeem. A super sticker burger emoji. Yeah. Not Ryan Johnson says hello and kapla. Hail, Karoga. Hail, Karoga. John DeMarco says greetings all. Greetings, John. John did a video earlier today on all about Gok and all the different types of Gok. And of course, Gok is best served live. John Aragi says, if you never forget, then you can't remember. That is also true. And John Aragi then goes on to say, hashtag Steelbird's garbage and Kroners. There is one hell of a thunderstorm brewing outside. John Aragi says, aloha world. Jedi Bill says, kapla, brother warrior, Birdo Prey 5, and all should hail Karoga. Thank you, Jedi Bill. Richie Poole puts in some alpacas. Jedi Bill says hello to not Ryan Johnson and Richie. And Jedi Bill puts in more alpacas and says, never forget 9/11/2001. Oh my God. That was the day. That was the day that the 90s ended and everything started to suck. We went from a high of post Y2K. We're like, we kicked it. We made it through Y2K. Everything was good. And then 9/11 happened and everything started to suck. LDG with the Karogan Orphan chat, 21-month Karogan Orphan membership chat, says type in the chat quick if you want this next gift. So LDG is going to perhaps gift a subscriber, gift a membership, and YouTube usually gives it to the person who chatted first. And not so much. Oh, yes, Dan Ben. Dan Ben was gifted the membership from LDG. Thank you, LDG, for the gifted membership. And Dan Ben was the victim. Dan Ben was the victim of the channel membership. Dan Ben was the honor, gets the honor of getting the channel membership. Unfortunately, Keely Chow got skipped over Keely Chow may not be eligible, may be on a brand account. I'm not sure. We'll see. We'll see. Yvette says, good evening, Bird and everyone. Good evening to the lovely Yvette. Not Ryan Johnson says, good hello to Jedi Bill. Yvette says, our thoughts are with you all on this tragic anniversary, and a broken heart. Love England. Thank you, Yvette. A lovely Yvette. Miss Londell's Groovy Movies says, Kapla, damn it. Kapla, Miss Londell. Richie Poole says, an early start. Yes. Yeah, I started early. I was just feeling so dang decent, and I didn't know for how long I'd feel that way. So better start early. And I think going on from this point on, be aware, bed life might start early. There's no reason to wait till 4. If I'm feeling good come 3:30, I'll probably just start. Hell, I might start at 3. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. But no, not going to wait till 4 all the time. If things are ready to go, we'll start early. Hakeem says, hello, Bird and Kapla to all. Kapla. Jim's Landscape Commodore Productions puts out a crazy cat video and the link to it. Eastland Burgholder says, hello, Bird. You may have heroic bulldog smelling farts. That is very Klingon. Kapla. Thank you, Eastland. Knocking wood, not so much. Not too bad. The smell of the farts has not been too bad. Richie Pools says, Bird of Prey, your feeble weapons will be useless against us. Indeed. Eastland says, Kirk, sometimes you have to jump up on a pool table. Indeed. Dave G. Sounds says, hail, Karoga. Hail, Dave G. Eastland says, feeble weapons, yes. We laugh at you. We laugh at you, slander. Hakeem says, that's great news. I'm so happy you're feeling better. Thank you. Richie Bulls with Bird of Prey. Eat Mama Prey out of the house and home. No, we're not going to eat Mama Prey out of house and home. Gorilla's Random Thoughts says, you started early, damn it. I mean, Kapla, Bird, Kapla, Gorilla. LDG says, damn early at all, Bird. Damn early at all? What does that even mean? Daniel's Hot Topic says, hello, Daniel. Eastland says, a rowdy, lowly, spelled royale. A lowly, spelled royale. Schwario, Kapla Schwario, says, Bird of Prey 5, Kapla Bird. You started early. Glad you're feeling better. Hope you and the family are doing well today. Thank you, Schwario. Eastland Burkholder says, French toast sticks, void. French toast sticks was my favorite breakfast item from Burger King, no longer available in my area. Daniel's Hot Topics says, sorry, Bird, I got to go now, but I love Burger King. Take care, Daniel. Eastland says, Begignons are the best. Begignons. Onion rings? I don't know. And Eastland says, Daniel's got to go. Bye. The Random Menace, Kapla, future man, a.k.a. current future daddy. Random Menace says, greetings from the future. Are we talking Alzheimer's? No. What? Hopefully not. Oh, never forget. Never. I see. I see what you did there, Random Menace. Daniel's Hot Topic says, I never had a breakfast at Burger King. Daniel, you have to have Burger King breakfast. It's a delight. Eastland Burkholder says, no, Daniel, going to plumbing. And Eastland Burkholder says, does Olivia scream? Babies are loud. I heard. I never had one. They are loud, Eastland. I never had one either, but I've been around. They are loud. Daniel's Hot Topic says, I wish I could hang out, but I got to go, and it sucks. It has to be now when there's a stream. Always when there's a stream, and it makes me mad. Okay, Daniel. You can always listen later. There's really no difference. Last on the case is Kapla Bird and the O'Praise. I hope you all are well today. Thank you, last son of K. Random Menace's breakfast is the most important meal of the day, and you eat fast food. Did healthcare become free in the U.S.? Random Menace, the eating of fast food for breakfast helps my mental health. It helps my mental health considerably, and it's all connected. Last on the cases, am I the only one who can barely hear Bird again? Oh, son of a bitch. I mean, but I've got, I probably just need to put it closer to my mouth. Last thing, am I the only one who can barely hear Bird again? Flipping YouTube app on my phone, volume maxed out, Bird's really quiet. I'm sorry. Now I'm going to get really loud. If anybody has their volume put up, you might want to lower it a bit. Eastland says, Kit Kat, the mouse chaser, says you need to eat the egg and scratch the dog if the dog tries to steal your egg. Random Menace says the audio is 5x5. Oh, that's good. JP's, Compla JP's, says Bird of Prey 5, reality is mostly a horrible place. Glad to hear you're in a happier place now. Well, JP's, let's face it. We all know good places are temporary, but so are bad. Mama Prey and I said that at the exact same time. But so are bad places. Reality is every place is temporary, good, bad, or indifferent. Eastland Burkholder says we need to celebrate the person who said, let's roll. You know, from the moment that George W. Bush said, let's roll, I thought it was ridiculous. I just, to me, he was like, let's roll. I was like, let's roll? What the fuck does he mean, let's roll? I mean, the only thing I could think of was Optimus Prime saying, like, to the Autobots, let's roll out, or whatever he used to say. But I honestly said, let's roll. I thought people were going to joke about it, and they were going to make it seem like let's roll, and they were going to have him, like, I thought on Saturday Night Live they would have let's roll, and he would start rolling weed, and he was going to become a dope smoking president. And granted, this was in the 90s, or the early 2000s, before the fact that medicinal marijuana was a thing. And so I thought, I was like, no, this is terrible. Let's roll. That was a horrible choice. A horrible choice. And I still believe it was a bad choice. But apparently history disagreed with me. And no. So let's roll didn't become his mission accomplished, became his big mistake. The mission accomplished banner, that was That is yeah, end of everything else. But I apparently Let's Roll is one of the things history is okay with. For me, it'll always be him on that trash pile, the rubble pile, and he's got that loudspeaker, and he's talking about now the people who did this are going to hear from us. Granted, it took a little longer than we thought, but they did. And as the United States often does, when you fuck with us, not only do we get angry, we get very angry. Very angry. And I don't apologize for it. I don't apologize. It's okay. Not only did we attack the country that did it, we attacked another country just for the fucking sake of it. Because fuck you. You know what? Fuck you. That's the thing. We can go in and destroy one country and destroy another. And sure, that's only going to cause more kids to become radicalized against us. And I'm sure any day now, we'll get attacked again. And people will come out and say, well, you know, maybe if you hadn't blown up their country, this wouldn't have happened. And in some respects, they'll probably be half right. But you know what? It'll just give us reason to attack 3 more countries. Jim's Landscape LLC says I can do a 6 egg and cheese bacon hash brown omelet. Goddamn, Jim. I could do that. You know, breakfast was my favorite meal of the day. I could do, in the olden days, egg and cheese omelet with bacon and hash browns on a fucking burrito roll, and I would love that. I would love it. And ketchup, oh my God, I would eat that up. Now the problem is that the burrito roll is full of sodium, and I had to stop eating the sodium. That it's crazy. The flour burrito is almost all salt. It's like got 2 days worth of salt in just the burrito roll. Now, if you take out the burrito roll and just eat it as an omelet, much, much less sodium. But I like the roll. Dan Ben says, I saw that very short trek on YouTube. Yes, I've also seen the very short trek, not to be confused with Short Trek, which was my own take on short YouTube, short Star Trek videos, but very short tracks. One has been released, and it's garbage. It's garbage. I'm sorry. 0 fucks to give. 0 fucks to give for very short tracks. Listen, if somebody else was making them as a parody, then sure, maybe, but it's not fun. It's not fun when you're making a parody of yourself. LDG says so heartless. I don't know why. Ethan says lost people, not here, not known, sad. and sometimes lost due to not death. Dan Ben says, I had 2 grandpas that died before I was born, so I never knew who they were, but my mom did. Eastland says, one day he will know that he missed something good, would rather have met him. Absolutely. Words and Pictures says, my condolences to New York, America, and the families who lost loved ones. Thank you, Words and Pictures. Eastland says, I got to meet older relatives that my younger sister did not get to meet. Eastland says, no thunder here and no rain. Dan Ben says, I had a very nice cheeseburger recently with that square orange cheese. That's American cheese, god damn it. Hakeem says, I can't believe that many years have passed since then. I was starting high school when it happened. I've told the story many times. I was at work. It had just started. That was relatively new at my job, and yeah, I was living in an apartment on my own. Again, relatively new to doing that. Talking to Mamo Prey on the phone. I was one of the few people who was flying my American flag before 9/11. Mamo Prey was nervous. She didn't like the fact that I had the flag out. She was actually scared that a plane or something would see my flag and aim for my building. She was also concerned that I might do something crazy and join the military. But I was
already making money.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I hate to say it, but well, I don't hate to say it. The reality of the situation was, although I was in fairly decent health compared to what I'd been in college, I was still easily 100 pounds overweight. And there was no fucking way I would ever been able to do what the military required in terms of training. And I was not somebody who could, you know, I could barely use a public restroom at the time. I certainly couldn't use a public latrine. I needed to have my own, even to pee. I would go into the private stall to pee. There was no way my bathroom habits would have been acceptable to you know, what I saw, to military standards. So it didn't even cross my mind on 9/11 to sign up. Now, certainly, if they had needed help designing a smart bomb or something, I certainly would have helped as a civilian. I didn't have no qualms against giving my intellect to fight the war. But, you know, the military had no shortage of smart people, and they were all in pretty good hands. So I just continued on doing my best thing I could do for the country, which was work in the alcohol industry, which, knowing our enemies hated alcohol, I felt like I was doing the world some good. And the fact that we were an alcohol industry, we knew we were a target. we were a target. We had taken extra precautions. Extra precautions. Keely Chow says, "Hey everybody, what's going on? Just talking, Keely. Remembering a very important day in American history, world history, in fact, and talking about life and lessons of life." Last Sunday cases, we have two generations who almost don't or don't remember what happened that day now, so they don't care. And that's normal. That's normal. And I get that. What upsets me is the ones that don't believe what they read or what we tell them. And I understand that too, because my God, I don't trust the government at all these days. But I trusted it enough, and I was there to see what happened. And it upsets me greatly that people 10 years younger than me, they don't believe it. And they're not, and I can't even say, but you have to trust the government, because you don't, and you shouldn't. And I can't find any good reason to point them to for anything that's happened since and say, yeah, well, trust them. Really, 9/11 was the last thing I trust the government ever really claimed. And even 9/11, like the EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency, fucking, what was her name? Whitman. I think it was Whitman. She became a head of the EPA, and she said, oh, it's safe to breathe. It's safe to breathe the air. It's safe. If you got covered in dust, you'll be fine. Just rinse it off. Don't worry about it. When they knew it was asbestos. They knew it was toxic. And what are you going to do? We all knew it was toxic. And by we, I mean people with brains. I'm sorry. If I was there and I was covered in it, I would just rinse off too. I mean, what are you going to do? You already breathed it in. You can't have your lungs mechanically cleaned out. The best thing you can do is just clean up and go on with life and hope for the best. The chances are you have a higher chance of getting cancer than had you not been there, sure. But it doesn't mean you stop living. I mean, there was nothing they could say, the government. If you tell them, yeah, you're fucked, well then millions and millions of people would drop out of the workforce. And oh, wait, that's what happened. Well, we see what happens. Sometimes it's better to lie. Sometimes it's better to lie. Dan Ben remembered seeing it on the news on September 11th when it happened. Keely Chow says hello to Jedi Bill. Roll Tide. Brother Warrior. Roll Tide. And Dan Ben says, I remember there was an episode of The Simpsons. I never saw it till years later. There was an episode of The Simpsons where Homer goes to visit the Twin Towers. That was before 9/11. I don't know if there was a 9/11 episode per se. Yes. Oh, you were saying, excuse you to Sassy. Sorry, I'm afraid. Keely Chow says, hail, Karoga. Hail, Karoga. Dan Ben says, Lowell, I like it because I get to see the members only video. Oh, Dan Ben, it's been a while since I've done a members only video, but I will try to do one. Actually, tomorrow is the members only stream. Tomorrow is the second Tuesday of the month. So tomorrow, 4 p.m.-ish, maybe earlier, will be a members only stream. Dan Ben says, in the UK, we had the 7th of July, 2005 London bombings. Yes. Yes, you guys did. I had been in London in February of 2005. So, no, I had been in London, September of 2005. September 11th, 2005, I was on a plane flying into London. That was a scary, scary day. That was one of the scariest flights I've ever taken. Dan Ben says, do you feel like less people talk about these terror attacks? Of course, yes. And that's right, and it should be less. As time goes on, they should be talked about less. LDG says, damn, early at Allbird. Yeah, well, it's already 4:11 when you made that comment. JP says, still makes no sense to LDG. Peter Ryder, Captain Finity. Kapla, Captain Finity. Captain Finity does streams all through the night, my time. I randomly pop over there. I lurk, I listen, I lurk some more. Martin Devon, hey Martin. Kapla, long live the Karogan Empire. Kapla, Martin, it has been a long time. I hope you're doing well. Jim's Landscape says, hail Gorilla, Daniel, Peter, Finity. Kyle Cullen with a live long and prosper, Kyle. Peter Finity also gives a live long and prosper. Damn it, Jim, he says. Jim's Landscape says bye to Daniel. Dan Ben says, in the UK, once a year we have Remembrance Sunday, which was originally to remember people who died in World War I and II, and now remember people from all other conflicts and attacks. Ron Marr says the volume is fine. Thank you, Ron Marr, and welcome to the stream. Dan Ben says, we don't eat chocolate cream cakes or hot dogs for breakfast in England, but sausage can be in a cooked breakfast. Stan Lee says, by the way, I watched some history of vertebrae videos and noticed that the white Toyota MR2 we were talking about the other week was in your neighbor's driveway 4 years ago. Lol. Stan Lee, it's time to tell you, that car has not moved in 15 plus years without any exaggeration. Without the hint of exaggeration, the car has not moved. I bought this house in May of 2005. The car was in the exact same place. The only difference was at that time, it was covered by a blue tarp. Somewhere over the years, the blue tarp blew off. The car itself has not moved. Now, at least when it was covered in a tarp, random people didn't come out and try to look at it and buy it. Jim says, Bird 5x5, and I'm mowing grass. No, it did not get sold, Stanley. They're not interested in selling it, apparently. For whatever reason, it's not interested. They're not interested in selling.
I have my own thoughts.
We have our own suspicions, but it's not for here or there. Dan Ben says, I guess some people in England might go to McDonald's for breakfast and some other fast food joint. I'm sure they do. I'm sure they do, because it's frankly, some of McDonald's breakfast stuff is delicious. Gorilla says, my headphones just suck. I'm sorry, Gorilla. Stanley says, I like when George W. Bush said, mission accomplished. Yeah, well, in fairness, that mission was accomplished. Okay? The mission switched from Operation Iraqi Freedom, which was accomplished, to Operation Enduring Freedom. And it was Enduring Freedom that was never quite accomplished. The original fall of Saddam Hussein, that was accomplished, and it was accomplished quickly. And, you know, everybody deserves good praise for that. It was the second mission. That was the tougher mission. Last on the case is, sorry everyone for making him louder for you. It's a little better now, but couldn't even hear Mama pray when she was talking early. I mean, I couldn't even hear one word. Oh, I'm so sorry, last son of K. JP says, Optimus Prime said, let's roll before Bush. Yeah, so that was it. I mean, that's what I knew it from, the Transformers. But I still, when Bush said it, I'm thinking, oh my God, everybody's going to make fun of him. They're going to think he means, let's roll blunts. And they're going to have George Bush smoking blunts with Don Rumsfeld and Dick Cheney in the Oval Office, making laughing noises. The Random Menace is last on the K. Are you using headphones? If yes, what type? Stanley says, and then the war only continued for a few more years. Gorilla says, wrong president. That was Obama. And that wasn't weed, it was crack. JP says, lol, mission accomplished, was damn hilarious. Dan Ben says, let's make sure history never forgets the name Enterprise. Stanley says, Dan Ben, they have in Canada Remembrance Day, November 11th. Dan Ben says, roll out Optimus Prime. Last in the case of the Random Menace, no headphones, just the phone speaker. Stanley says, don't get angry, get even. Keely Chow says, FAFO, FAFO. JP says, you guys were just looking to grab some more oil. Bullshit. Bullshit. If we were, we would have had the oil. We should have had the oil. The oil would have been great. We should have taken all the fucking oil. It was ours. We deserved it. Keely Chow says, fuck around and find out. Oh, that's what it means. FAFO. Got it. Last on a K, that was says hashtag bird rant. Miss Londell's Groovy Movies says, let's roll was actually attributed to one of the passengers who banded together and retook control of the planes, forcing it down. Yeah, that's true. That was the plane that crashed in Pennsylvania. I don't know about that. As much as I say 9/11 was some of the last things I trust about the government. I don't know. I don't know how true that is. I don't want to be this, what I just said. I hate that the younger people don't even believe that, but I don't know. Again, like I say, the lie is better. I don't know. Maybe they were shot down and we needed a hero story. I'm just saying it's very convenient. And if it happened that way, wonderful. Either way, the people on that plane, whatever they tried to do, they're heroes. But if they had to be shot down, they're also heroes. Random Menace is last on the K. Issues only on YouTube. The speaker grill can be clogged by dust and other stuff in the pocket. Use a toothbrush to clean it. Dave G. Sounds says burrito 420. And JP says ketchup. WTF, use salsa. Oh, fuck you. This is New York City. New York City. Yeah, we use ketchup. Dave G can't eat processed foods anymore either. Yeah, I get you. Dan Ben says, I don't think I've ever eaten a burrito. Well, you should try, especially if you can find a Taco Bell. Stanley says, yeah, love breakfast, bacon, sausage, eggs, toast, butter, pancakes, French toast. Stanley says, is the salt all the sausage? No, actually, the salt is worse in the burrito than the sausage. Yeah, the sauce is in the roll. JP says salsa and sriracha. Stanley says JP's, I remember kids at summer camp would get a plate of scrambled eggs and then practically inject the pile with ketchup. It was like filling a Twinkie. Eastland, executive producer Saul Leibowitz, Kapla says you have not lived until you've had a South Texas breakfast taco. Oh my God, that just sounds delicious. Last Son of K says Random Menace. The audio isn't consistent across videos and streams on the YouTube app. I get the same varied audio on YouTube when I'm able to use my tablet. I don't always have hotspot data. Stanley says the eggs become just a ketchup delivery system. JP says the only thing suitable for ketchup is burgers, hot dogs, and fries. Eastland Burgle says not cheese. Miss Londell's Groovy Movies says, please tell Mama Pray there is nothing crazy about joining the military. Soldiering is one of the most noblest of occupations. Oh, no. She didn't mean anything like that, Miss Londell. She meant for me. For me, listen, you guys know a lot of me. You
wouldn't have fit into
I would not have fit into the military. But I knew that. Okay, see, Mama Pray knows that one of the people I most respected and looked up to in my life was my grandfather. And he joined the military after Pearl Harbor. And, we've told the stories. He fought through Europe. He got shot by Nazis. He got taken into the German side of the camp, of the hospital, where he had to prove that he wasn't a kraut. And then they finally moved him to the American side of the hospital where he actually got treatment. And he made it home. He got his Purple Heart. And you know, and he used to talk about the war a bit. It was not that it was wonderful, but it was good to hear stories and just, you know, somebody so willing to talk about a part of life that very few people talk about today, and there's nobody left. Nobody's left from that generation to talk about it, and he died way too young. And I always missed him, and you know, if I had made some different decisions in my life, I might have joined the military, but my life as it was, it wasn't in my cards.
Yeah, I just wanted to repeat, in no way was I disrespecting anyone that could join the military.
You had brothers that were in the military.
Yeah, Uncle Stephen. Of course, he was never the same after he came home from Vietnam. But
I'm sure nobody was.
yeah, right. No, what I was going to say is that everybody obviously is different, and you know what they want to be, and this has nothing to do with the military. Personally, as a child growing up, I wanted to be a stewardess. Yes, they're called flight attendants now, but in those days, they were stewardess. Of course, I didn't realize then I really didn't want to fly, but that's beside the point. Also, you needed to be 5'7". But as a teenager, I didn't realize I was never going to be 5'7". I was never going to be 5 foot. So, I mean, it was something I aspired to until I realized this wasn't happening for me. And that's when I said, you know, it just wasn't happening for Bird. They weren't taking people of his size then. Plus his other, how do we say, quirks. Like, you know, he never, as a teenager, he would go swimming. He would go in the ocean. He would go in pools. Never without a t-shirt. Oh, yeah, he had bathing suit on, too. I didn't mean he just had a t-shirt. But this was him. So there's no way he was going to start living in a barracks and undressing and showering in front of other people. It just wasn't him.
Yeah.
Now, of course, so many people.
Now I don't care. I fucking people come in, they gotta, even at the hospital, they gotta cover me up. I don't care who sees me naked now. But in those days, yeah.
Yeah, I just meant it wasn't for you.
Random Menace's ketchup is not a condiment. It's a cover-up operation for bad food. When you put ketchup on food, it tastes like ketchup. Fat intensifies the taste, the aroma, and therefore mayo is universal. Dave G. Sounds is, yes, I recall. There was a flag shortage, and people were stealing American flags off each other's porches so they could show how American they were. I do not recall that, Dave G. Certainly not something that happened in New York. We don't have any shortage of flags. It seemed like flags were everywhere. Little flags, medium flags, big flags. I mean, every supermarket, every store, every drugstore had flags in. What was sad was that people were putting little flags on their cars and not realizing that you can't drive 70 miles an hour with a little plastic flag attached to your antenna or your windshield, and they'd all break off. And you'd be driving down the highway, and there would be dozens of broken little flags in the leaves and shit littering the highways. Very sad. It took a while for people to realize they needed to treat the flag properly. I remember one woman I used to work with. I don't know how she even noticed, but every day she would check like every flag she'd pass. And like one day she passed this hotel, and they happened to have the flag upside down. And I know that's a big no-no. That means that you're in distress. And she called me over. She's like, "Joe, look at that." And she's got like fucking binoculars. What are you talking about? What? Look at what? Like, look at that. And she's like, the flag. Do you see the flag? And there was this hotel that was like down a couple of blocks from our office. And I was like, "Yeah, I see it." She's like, "What do you think I should do?" It took, I love her, don't get me wrong. I really like her. And if she's ever listening, you were good, Barbara. I enjoyed your friendship. I still do. But when you asked, what should I do? The American in me wanted to say, mind your goddamn business. Somebody will figure it out. You're not the fucking flag monitor. But I said, I don't know. I mean, I wanted to say, just go back to work. Go back to work. But I actually said, I don't know, call them? She's like, "Oh yeah, that's what I'll do. I'll call them." And the next thing I know, she's on the phone asking to speak to a manager. And she's explaining, she's like, if the flag is upside down, it means it's in distress. It's a problem. It needs to be fixed right away. Oh my God. I can only imagine some poor schmuck who's got to field the call because somebody is appalled the flag. And don't get me wrong. Yes, the right thing to do was probably call in and just say, "Hey, heads up, somebody put up your flag upside down. Goodbye." Okay? What she didn't need to do, in my opinion, was go into all the reasons why it was so awful. But whatever. It is what it is. And I assume they never put it upside down again. Captain Fandom Nerd says, hello, Captain. Eastland Burkle, this is flying American flags now and not for 9/11. Darth Maul says, our enemies only see us as Americans, not in the countless ways we've divided ourselves within our country. Fair enough, Darth Maul. Fair enough, and probably correct. 47 Yorktown says, hello, young sir. Hello, 47. Random Man says, Eastland, Olivia is not crying much and less hungry, just like her dad. And Eastland says, should not trust government, should check on government. Executive producer Saul Leibowitz says, says, and it jumped. Executive producer Saul Leibowitz says, according to the vice president, 9/11/01 equals 1/6/21. Yeah, I don't know about that. Stanley says, listen to Dirty Harry. You know what makes me really sick to my stomach? Is watching you stuff your face with those hot dogs. Nobody puts ketchup on a hot dog. Well, I do. I do, Dirty Harry. Stanley says, maybe if you're under 10. I was listening to Howard Stern. I still have, I didn't listen to it live because I was not a Howard Stern fan at the time, but I do have the full Howard Stern 9/11 episode, and I do listen to it from time to time because it's it's the change. It's pre 9 America changes during the episode. We go from a pre 9/11 to a post 9/11 world. And even Howard Stern knew who it was and what had happened before the dust settled. We're talking about Pam Anderson, I think, prior to the hit, probably. Tim Christ says, I just got here and I heard Bird was covered in it. Don't want to know what. Oh, 9/11. God, I'm dense. I'm tired. No problem, Tim. Stanley says, or it might have been Carmen Electra. Yeah, I don't remember who they were talking about. Dan Ben says, no, that's the correct Simpsons episode. I never saw it before 9/11. And when 9/11 happened, they never showed it until years later. Tim Chris says, I'll take a bit of Carmen Electra. She has a perm invitation to my abode. Yitz the Lemons says, hashtag never forget the March 22nd Belgian bombings either, I guess. Absolutely. Last Son of K says, Random Menace, I thank you for the advice and tips. Darth Maul says, the other fallout from 9/11 was how we treated the Muslims in the country afterwards. It's like every one of them was a potential threat. It wasn't right, but understandable. You know, exactly. It wasn't right, but it is understandable. JP says, oh, an MR2, I want it. Last on the case is never forget until it conflicts with the current message or agenda. Random Menace says, last on the K, I hope something will work out. Darth Maul says, imagine if the phrase, make it so, was uttered instead of let's roll. That would have been something. You know, okay, so Seth MacFarlane was supposed to be on one of those planes. Seth MacFarlane, he talks about it. He doesn't like talking about it because he doesn't like thinking about it, which I guess I wouldn't either. But Seth MacFarlane missed his plane. He was supposed to be on, he was scheduled to be on the plane, one of the planes that crashed into the towers, I believe. And could you imagine? We would never even know who this man was. Had that happened at that time, how different history would be just by pop culture, just by pop culture. No Family Guy, no Orville,
No Gelogia?
no Gelogia. Hell, he wouldn't even have been on Enterprise. He wouldn't even have been on Enterprise. And he hates thinking about it because he's like, well, why? Why should he have been saved? And he's like, people think, oh, God had a plan for him. His time wasn't up. But he's an atheist, so he doesn't believe in that. Thomas Potts, as I come in, and Bert is talking about smoking blunts. JP says, yeah, pretty funny to come in on that, Thomas. John Araki says, question of the day from Mamo Pray. What is your go-to ravioli filling? And which one do you hard pass?
And which one do I buy?
Hard pass. What's your worst? What's your best and worst? Okay, you understand.
Cheese ravioli is.
Mama Pray, the cheese raviolis are go-to.
Yeah.
And
honestly, you're gonna laugh at this one.
lobster.
Lobster is
there-
my least favorite.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's the lobster in the lobster raviolis.
It
It's
just don't
garbage.
go together in my mind. I want a real lobster or a real ravioli.
Okay, that's
That's
good.
it.
Yeah,
Right now, I'm hungry though.
yeah. Mama Pray's hungry. You want to order lobster?
No,
Want to order ravioli?
maybe.
Gorilla's Random Thoughts says Taco Bell is the only place where you can get gas for $1.49. Ha ha ha. Dan Ben says, yeah, the cheese I had in my cheeseburger said 10 cheesy slices on the packet. I had this at home normally. At home, I've just been using cheddar cheese to make the burger at home. And last in the case is too bad the gas comes with cramps. Miranda Menace's Purple Heart sounds like a serious condition. Har, 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 har. Dan Ben says, tacos I have at home. I just have a taco kit and make them. JP says, homemade tacos are the best tacos. Stanley says, it's not over. It's never over. Evelyn says, we know Mama Pray respects persons who disagree with her, and persons who agree with her. John Araki says, Arby's beef and cheddar, greater than taco, greater than Barbie. I know you said less than. Oh, less than taco. Arby's beef and cheddar is less than taco, less than Barbie. JP says nothing wrong with swimming in a t-shirt. Not now, but again, this was 20 years, 30 years prior. Everybody turned out like me. I used to get ragged on for being the only kid swimming in a t-shirt. And then 30 years later, everybody's swimming in t-shirts. I was ahead of the curve. It was not what I wanted to be. It was not a trend I wanted to start. Easlins is never going to be tall. Was never going to be a go-go dancer. Clumsy girl I was.
Oh, no. Nobody could have been clumsier than me.
Mama Pray says nobody was clumsier than her. Darth Maul says Bird's a nudist now. Oh, I just don't give a shit anymore, Darth. I just don't give a shit anymore. I used to be like a never nude. I was so afraid. Like, oh my God, I don't want to. And now it's like, whatever. I don't care. Don't look. You don't want to see, don't look. Last in the case is if you're prone to sunburns and blisters on your shoulders, then swimming in a t-shirt is a good thing. You know what, last on the K? I have no doubt that it may have saved my life. Because I am, I had several moles removed that were quite suspicious. And had they baked in the sun for 5 or 10 years, I'm sure they probably would have been worse. The fact that very little to zero ultraviolet light reached my skin was probably a very good thing. Eastland Burglar says, I bought pork and alligator sausage today. Yum. Dan Ben says, you can get the new thing, which is mayo and tomato ketchup combined. I do that the old-fashioned way. Admiral Teague is in the house. Says, hey there, everybody. Kapla, Admiral Teague. Says, hail, Bird o' Prey. And hail, Dan Ben, last on a K, and a random menace. Darth Maul says, Bird is just being coy. The real reason he didn't join the military is he was already a secret agent and waist deep in ass. Selling alcohol was only a cover. JP is lolling the fucking flag monitor. Jedi Bill says, Kapla Bird, Kapla Jedi Bill. Last on the case is she was in distress and asking for help. No, she was not. She was she's a solid woman of solid social standing. Last on the case is they keep pushing the notion that 1/6 was a T act. Nobody's buying it. Oh, that January 6th. January 6th. No, I agree. Darth Maul says, I went right to Howard Stern on 9/11. I wasn't a listener, but my dad was. Dan Ben has ketchup on hot dogs. So do I, Dan Ben. Last night case is I had to work 4 to midnight that day, so I was sleeping until 1:30. Never saw it unfold live. It was a big day. It was an unusual day for me because I had been in Lower Manhattan just hours earlier. We were celebrating my friend's bachelor party just blocks away from the World Trade Center. I was looking up at them on the night of September 10th, actually at 3 a.m. At 3 a.m., I was on the Long Island Railroad coming home from the city. And I got just a couple hours sleep. And I left my house. I left my apartment way early than I usually do because I knew I wasn't going to be able to sleep. I got to work, and it was a 1 in 1,000 chance. It was the one day that I turned my alarm clock off. I used to reset my alarm clock every morning before I left the house, so it remembers to wake me up the next morning. And had I done that, my alarm clock would have been going off and nobody would have been home. And I assume that the neighbors would have called the superintendent and they would have gone into my apartment and manually turned off the alarm and seen I wasn't there and assumed I was dead, which is the assumption many people would have made. But in truth, I didn't get home because I was simply stuck on the wrong side of the bridges. And it took me an extra day to get home. And it was like my job they had an extra apartment, so they let me share it with a coworker. And we stayed on that side of the bridge. Jedi Bill says, hey, Bird, I missed 73 minutes of the stream waiting for you to come on today, but my laptop went to sleep. Oh, I'm so sorry, Bill. Well, I mean, you can always rewind, but you don't have to. Darth Maul says, Seth MacFarlane, really? Damn, we wouldn't have had even known who he was other than a name on granite. Exactly. Exactly. And all those other names that got read today and all the other days, God only knows who would have done what with their lives. Disney sheep herder, Kapla Disney, says howdy and hail, support for all. Thank you. Last in the case is a guy from Boston had a meeting that day at World Trade Center. His wife, sister-in-law, and kid were flight to Disney the same day. He found out later he saw their flight crash into the tower he was entering. No, that doesn't make sense. Oh, unless you mean Disneyland, because Disney World would be Florida, and the flights, no flight from Florida, from Boston to Florida, hit the towers. Yeah, in fact, I don't see how a flight to Disney hit the tower last on a K. I'm not sure if the flight from Newark. Right, Newark I think went to Pennsylvania. So it was the Boston flights that hit. I don't remember. But I don't know. Something feels fishy about that. Dan Evans is one of the writers of the TV show Frasier was on the 9/11 planes that crashed. Admiral Teague says Mark Wahlberg said he was almost on one of the planes too. Disney sheep herder says greetings to Jedi Bill, Darth Maul, Admiral Teague, Last Son of K, and me. Admiral Teague says, oh wow, hail to the great Disney sheep herder. Dave G. Sounds says, even the Romulan heart is gray. Dan Van says, like when Krusty the Clown jumps onto the monorail and Leonard Nimoy grabs him and said, no, the world needs laughter. Disney Sheepherders is missing many shows lately, Admiral Teague, but I'm a good lurker when necessary. And John Araki says, Terry Farrell, greater than the military. Admiral Teague says, cool, today I did a watch party of Black Hawk Down with Captain Fandom Nerd and the Goat Father. Seemed appropriate for the day. And last in the case is Disneyland. Okay. Disneyland. Okay. I guess that Boston to Los Angeles was the plane. Flight 11. Okay. That makes sense. That makes sense. Being here on the East Coast, anytime somebody says Disney, it always means Disney World.
And also flight 175 took off in Boston and
Flight 175 was Boston to Los Angeles as well. Okay. So and that's the other one that hit the tower.
Yeah, the one who went down to Pennsylvania was the United flight from Newark.
Okay, so United from Newark crashed into Pennsylvania. Otherwise, 2 flights from Boston. Is that really both flights from Boston? Okay.
I'm reading
It's fine. I'm not complaining. Okay. So it is, let's bring up, so of course it's September 11th. Yet there are still some holidays for September 11th. It's National Make Your Bed Day, which, again, I find that kind of ironic because I always used to make my bed before leaving the house. And one of the things of making my bed was resetting the alarm clock. Resetting the alarm clock so it would go off the next morning, because prior to 9/11, I never considered the fact that I might not be home. I might not be home the next morning. Now, you would think, as a 20-something young male, I might have considered the possibility that maybe I wasn't going to be home for a good reason. You know, wink, wink. Maybe I'd meet somebody. Maybe I end up at her place. Maybe I'd get a hotel room. Maybe I'd fly somewhere. Who knows? But there are 1,000 good reasons that I think back that I might not have made it home. Yet, because of who I was like, well, obviously I'm going to go home before, whatever. So every day I literally turn on my alarm clock before I left the house for work, just in case I was so busy when I got home, I forgot to put it back on. Of course, the even more ridiculous thing was that I would always wake up a minute before the alarm would go off anyway. So I really didn't need the alarm. The alarm was like a last emergency, and I never thought about it. And it wasn't until 9/11 that I realized, holy shit, the alarm is really more of a pain in the ass than it was. And ever since then, I never set the alarm before I went to bed the night, because it just wasn't worth the risk, of annoying my neighbors, of potentially scaring my neighbors, certainly of making the superintendent annoyed and have to come into my apartment to turn off a very loud, very annoying buzzing alarm. So it's also National Make Your Bed Day. It's Patriot Day, a time to reflect on the devastating 9/11 terror attacks that took nearly 3,000 lives. In fact, they are still adding to the death toll. Every time somebody dies of a 9/11 illness, they add it to the death toll. It might hit 3,000. It's also, this is a very suspect holiday, Libraries Remember Day. Libraries are a treasure trove of knowledge, and some of our most joyful memories. Well, why is it called Libraries Remember? I mean, we're supposed to never forget. And somebody made a day called Libraries Remember on 9/11. And now they say that's most of our joyful memories. So this is why you should never trust libraries. This is why that's very suspect. Be very suspect of people who work in libraries. National Boss Employee Exchange Day. Get ready to step into a different pair of shoes as we celebrate this fun day. So this is a day where you're supposed to exchange places with your boss. National Boss Employee Exchange Day is celebrated every year on the Monday after Labor Day. This is a special day for bosses and employees to switch places in order to get a taste of each other's responsibilities. For just one day, both groups get to step into each other's shoes. Now, before you slide into your boss's swivel chair, let's take a look at some history. Okay, I can tell you this was a day thought up by an idiot. You can't have 50 people switch places with one person. A boss, by definition, has multiple people working under them. They all can't switch. Bless you, Mama Frey. It's also National Hot Cross Bun Day. That looks delicious. You know what's for breakfast today? A hot cross bun. Well, it's a September 11th thing now. And finally, No News is Good News Day. Explore the benefits of unplugging from the world on No News is Good News Day. Can you imagine if you had unplugged from the world on 9/11? You know, like, people don't even understand. Even had you unplugged, it was like on every TV channel. And like cable channels, they just went offline. Well, obviously you could look out the window if you were in New York. Well, anywhere in New York, you could look out the window. Well, I mean, even if you didn't live in New York, let's say you lived in Alabama, okay? Any TV channel was talking about it or had it on. Even like cable channels would just stop airing programming, and they would play. I remember going through the TV channels at the apartment at the office had to see what the hell was on, and like all these channels just had a message, like they're like our thoughts and prayers are with the people of New York and Washington and all this stuff. So like what would have been, like Spike TV or Home and Garden or Life, they all just had messages, or Comedy Central. They weren't airing. You couldn't watch Comedy Central on 9/11. There was a message to go to your local news station. Well, yeah, the antennas came down in New York City, so it was hard. They had to power them up through the Empire State Building. Yes. Yeah. Well, that was through cable. Admiral Teague says, if you add up all the flight numbers, does it work? No. Admiral Teague says, FDNY added 44 names to the list of 9/11 fallen last week for those who lost this year to 9/11 related diseases. Last in the case is it's Patriot Day because Massachusetts has Patriot Day in April, remembering the battles of Lexington and Concord in 1775, the beginnings of the Revolutionary War. Resolute Germ says, remember Libraries Day because all they are now are glorified homeless shelters. That's somewhat true. Scotty R37 says, Kapla, Scotty. Admiral Teague says, the History Channel kicked over to CNN. It sucked. I missed the final episode of the Civil War. Still haven't seen the episode where they tell us who won. Stanley says, how long did Letterman go dark after 9/11? I don't know. Scotty says, it was a day of shock. It was my first day of university. My first professor made a joke about it. I dropped out shortly afterwards. My God, what type of joke? What type of joke? Gorilla says, Bird, you missed my previous chat on the flights. Gorilla, I'm sorry. Gorilla says 11 and 77 hit the towers. Flight 93 hit the field. Not sure the Pentagon. Thank you, Gorilla. Sorry about that. Stanley says, I was unemployed, recent university grad, living by parents' basement, looking for a job. 9/11 was on my way to buy beer. I've been very early to buy beer. If you're in Eastern time zone. Stanley says, heard it on the radio. Assumed it was another one of those small Cessnas or something. Okay. Somebody want to put in a 5-letter word for Wordle? A 5-letter word for Wordle. John Araki says September 22nd is the 19th anniversary of the crash of Oceanic Flight 815. Last on the cases, it's the third Monday of April, but I believe the exact date was April 19th, 1775. Stanley said, hey, I was unemployed. Okay. You get Pride. Stanley was first with Pride. Pride. Hofstra Pride. That was my university. We had a lion, so our logo was Pride. So we got an R, D, N, E in the wrong space. And Gorilla puts in Ouija. Resolute says water. LDG says croak. Tower, stink, alone. No. We need to use some of these letters. Let's see. Let's try D-A-R-E-D, dared. Okay, we got the E in the right spot. We know where the D's and the R's aren't. It probably ends in, no, doesn't end in D. So let's see. L-O-U-D-S. No, we know it's not D there either. R-O-U-N-D. Okay. Let's see. So we know there's no D or R in the first letter. Second letter, we know there's an O somewhere. We know there's an O. We know there's an R. We know there's a D. Okay, we know the second letter is not an O. I mean, the first letter is an O. O-D. O-D. No. D. The second letter is D. The second letter basically, or third. or third letter is D. It has to end in R. Basically, yes, it has to end in R. So it ends in R, ER. So then D, DER. D. And it doesn't start in D or R. So F. Okay. F. No. M. BOR. BORED. Board. No, it ends in R. God damn it. Thank you, last son of K. Stanley says loader. LODER. It can't be an O. The O, the second letter is not O. The second letter is not O. But DER. Older. There we go. Thank you. Okay. So there's Wordle. Birdle today was tough. Birdle was tough. So let's go ahead and go to, we'll check some Google News. Apparently there's been a terrible earthquake in Morocco, thousands dead, very unfortunate. Hope everybody, you know anybody in Morocco, I hope they're okay. We got a hurricane headed up the coast at some point. Sony launches a foster care program for pre-loved ABO robot dogs. So there's basically, what are those, like refurbished robot dogs now for sale? You wait and see. We're going to have laws against how you treat robots. And they're going to be basically the same way. You're not going to be able to abuse your robots any more than you can abuse a biological pet or person for that matter. It's going to be a thing. Disney charter end dispute, restoring ESPN and ABC to 15 million households. That's good. There's so many people who have old people who couldn't get their ABC. They couldn't watch their Jeopardy and their Wheel of Fortune, and they didn't understand why. Moroccan earthquake death toll tops 2,600. I'm sure it's even higher than that now. Drew Barrymore show audience members say they were kicked out for writers. I don't care. Anything Star Trek related? GTA 6 massive file size appears online. Promises 400 hours of gameplay. Jesus Christ. Star Trek icon unrecognizable as fans club her dream girl in pic with the flash. What? What? That looks like Terry Farrell. That is Terry Farrell. I accept. Star Trek icon unrecognizable as fans dub her Dream Girl in pic with the Flash actor. Star Trek's Deep Space Nine star Terry Farrell was compared to fine wine as she left fans stunned after sharing a snap standing beside fellow 90s star John Wesley Shipp. Terry Farrell, best known for playing Jadzia Dax in Star Trek's Deep Space Nine, looks unrecognizably 30 years. Looks unrecognizable 30 years after the TV series started airing. The 90s star, 59, met with besotted fans at GalaxyCon in Austin, Texas earlier this month and was hailed as a dream girl after sharing a snap of her at the event. In the photo, which she posed on her Instagram and Twitter, former actress stood alongside fellow 90s star John Wesley Shipp, who played the Flash in the original superhero series. The pair could be seen beaming as they stood close together, with Terry placing her hand on John's chest. That's not unrecognizable. Terry, who retired from acting to focus on her family life in 2002, could be seen rocking a short silver bob after ditching her long brown locks in favor of growing out her naturally graying hair. Fans were quick to take comments to compliment how good she looked. God, Terry, you are like fine wine, one person wrote. A second said you haven't aged in 30 years. While another love-struck fan said, going to have to ask you to stop being my dream girl. It's been 25 years. I need to move on. Lol. Yeah. She was cute, all right. Okay. Anyway, let's head over to Dear Bob. Stan Lee says, Drew Barrymore has a show. Thomas Potts calls me a cheater. Darth Maul says, we had a 5.0 earthquake at my Shasta last week. Okay, you know what? Before we do, I gotta do a commercial. We'll be right back.
One of the nice things about McDonald's Chicken McNuggets, those hot, tasty pieces of boneless chicken, is that they're packaged in sizes for every appetite. Let me illustrate. Enter the six-pack. A logical lunch. McNuggets 9, a delight for dinner. And a pack of 20? Hey, perfect for picnics and parties. Of course, these are mere suggestions. Your appetite will be the true guide.
It's a good time for the great taste of McDonald's.
When that sun breaks out, lift up your head and shout, it's gonna be a great day.
Kellogg's waits for you, that spirit comes shining through, promising you a great day. How could you think of starting this bright new morning without your K-double-L? Oh, it's double good with Kellogg's, you'll have a great day.
Kellogg's has been making great days for more people for more years with more cereals than anyone. Corn Flakes, Rice Krispies, Frosted Flakes, Product 19. Trust your mornings to Kellogg's.
Very best part of starting your bright new morning is Kellogg's way. It's not far away. Kellogg's
fragrance created by Gloria Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt, a rich, expressive fragrance that reveals to the world just how splendid you are. Vanderbilt, let it release the splendor of you, Vanderbilt.
This week, Sears teams up velour and corduroy for a sporty look at a winning price. First, corduroy pants, a super value at only $8.99. The Fit Super, too, and you save $5. Snuggle into a rich velour top for just $12.99. The luxury of velour in a soft knit blend, and you save $5. The pants in assorted colors, the tops in crew V and boat neck. Hurry, this sale ends Saturday at Sears, where America shops for value.
It's a corner of America with cozy harbor towns. It's salty air, wicker chairs, and a surf that pounds.
The spirit of Massachusetts is the spirit of America. The spirit of the red, white, and blue. The spirit of Massachusetts is the spirit of America. The spirit that we want to share with you.
For your free Massachusetts vacation kit, call 1-800-624-MASS.
I've been playing daughter roles for so long that people forget I'm grown up with kids of my own. I'm certainly grown up enough to know that soap can dry out your face, so I wash with Noxzema skin cream every day. Noxzema makes my face feel really clean. It doesn't dry, puts moisture in, makes my skin feel soft, younger looking. I've been washing with Noxzema for a long time now, and, well, so far so good.
Good skin starts with Noxzema every day. Greaseless, medicated Noxzema skin cream.
There really is a Kentucky Fried Chicken school.
Yep, today we're making the Colonel's original recipe.
What have you learned?
Fresh chicken makes the best chicken.
And that we use 11 herbs and spices.
Oh, but that's the Colonel's secret. And special pressure cooking.
So it's always tender and juicy.
Looks like you've learned to make great chicken.
Only way to serve our customers right.
It's so nice to feel so good about a meal. So good about Kentucky Fried Chicken.
If we lived in a world where all women were the same, they'd need only one shampoo. Clairol introduces 7 shampoos for the real world, where all women are different. Clairol Essence shampoos, each with its own natural.
Okay, I am sorry. I am back, and I realized I missed. Oh my God, I missed 2 donations. I missed 2 donations. I am so sorry. 1 hour ago, a $10 donation from Not Ryan Johnson said, "Stop talking about food. I'm starving." I am so sorry, Not Ryan Johnson, because I totally did not stop talking about food. But you know what? I will stop talking about it now. And then, and thank you. Mamo Praise is getting, one of the things I was talking about while I was muted was indeed food. Mamo Pray was hungry. She's going to, yes, and thank you for the donation. And then also an hour ago, Zap Brannigan with $1.49 says, "I will take you into the dupe. I don't trust that Kiff guy. He's too small for me to use as a towel. If you're interested in trying out for his job, just send me an envelope of velour with your application, and we will celebrate with champagne and guacamole. Guacamole." Thank you, Zap Brannigan. Actually, okay, so I am still behind. I did not see this most recent episode of Futurama. I was caught up, I'm caught up except for this most recent episode of Futurama, which got released today on Hulu. And I'll be honest, it has been an incredible disappointment. This entire season of Futurama on Hulu, I think we're like 8 or 9 episodes in at this point, 6, 7, 8, I don't know. We're mostly through. There's not a lot of episodes left, and every single episode has been a severe disappointment. Totally not worth, absolutely not worth watching, and not worth paying for. If you have no reason to have Hulu, Futurama is certainly not worth it. This is the first season of Futurama that's been a total and complete disaster, a total waste. Now, it's not that the episodes are offensively bad. They're not. I mean, they're not Star Trek Discovery. They don't destroy the franchise. They just dilute it, because every single episode is a boring, shitty episode. They don't destroy it. They're just fillers. You know, in the old days, we'd have 22, 23 episodes a season, and 15 of them were really nice episodes. Maybe 10 were excellent, and 15 were okay. These are those other 5. But every single episode this season has just been a filler. None of them are worth watching. I would skip them every single time. So that's where we are on Futurama. And I will probably do a Futurama season review once the season's over. It's certainly not worth doing a single episode by episode review. Yes, Mom.
Sorry
Right.
to interrupt.
It's okay. And you got to ask about food.
I got it. Yes.
Yes. What's the question?
Okay. On the side of the burger,
Yes.
you don't have to get French fries.
Oh,
They have rice pilaf. They have a pasta and spinach. I don't know what that is. I mean, they have many other things.
try that. Try the pasta. and
Pasta
spinach.
and-
Yeah, because I'm not going to eat the fries.
No, you know that.
Darth Maul, by the way, says Bird of Prey 5. Did you catch Doomcock's recent video on Star Trek? Thoughts? You know, Darth Maul, I don't think I did. I know there's one out there. The one I caught was the one he did for his members only. Channel members only. He did a video where he was talking about how much it hurt him, how hurt he was, how sad he was for Star Trek. He did bring up in that video that he had, as he uses the word, spies in Paramount, and that supposedly Paramount, I don't know, there was some type of guest, and I'm also hearing these from other sources, that there was some type of they did some kind of test screening or something for a Star Trek that would have continued after Nemesis, and that's what everybody wanted to see. I don't know, Darth Maul. I mean, does it sound plausible? Sure. Does he say take it with a grain of salt? Yes. I don't really care. Once you're in the room of rumor, I don't really care, to be completely, because you can't know. We don't know whether it's true or not. And it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter at this point, whether it's true or not. I watch Doomcock for Friday Night Frolics. I watch Doomcock because he's a wonderful entertainer and a really good guy. The videos that are he said, she said, and nobody can prove it one way or the other, I don't generally waste my time on those videos. I listen, don't get me wrong, I listen to Doomcock videos when I have time because he's an entertaining guy, but I don't put any stock in it. Thomas Potts says, Bird of Prey, Wheel of Fortune and Jeopardy are on NBC for me. I don't know where you are, Thomas, but my entire life, Wheel of Fortune and Jeopardy are on ABC for me. Channel 7 here, ABC. 7 p.m. 7 p.m. Jeopardy, then Wheel of Fortune. Once in a while, they'd switch places, but it's been a long, long time. Who is John Wesley Shipp? Apparently he played the Flash. Admiral Teague says she's pretty recognizable. Absolutely. Terry Farrell is absolutely recognizable. The Random Menace says Dax is stunning. She is. I didn't realize she was 59. I thought she was younger than that. Dan Benz is Terry Farrell. I've seen in Deep Space Nine and Becker. And Stanley says, Dab, I'm hungry. Hakeem hasn't had a nugget in years. Last on the case is funny how Drew had DM after she got roasted on Twitter by a WOC for dancing in the rain. A woman of color for dancing in the rain. Stanley's is part of a complete breakfast with fruit, milk, sausage, and eggs. Dan Benz is chicken eating chicken. Dan Benz is what makes an unhealthy breakfast healthier? Have milk. Stanley says polyester and polyester. Just keep away from open flames. Stanley says velour is for cheap car interiors and sofas. Oh no. You've got to have a keen eye to feel the love of fine velour. Dan Benz is because you want your lady to be as sexy as a swan. Hakeem says regular Coke or no Coke at all. Absolutely. Dan Benz is the cheapest clothes shop in the UK is Primark. Thomas Potts has no idea who she is. Stanley says Thomas Potts, the mom from Family Ties. Last on the case of Thomas Potts, she was the mother on Family Ties, Michael J. Fox's first TV series. Thomas Potts is shaking my head at Salty O Prey 5. Damn it, Thomas, why are you be insulting? Stanley says the Morocco earthquake was a 6.8. Dan Ben says, Google that young lady in the advert. She's like 76 now. Maybe the wrong person. Resolute Germs says, I completely forgot they brought that back. And Dan Ben does not have access to new Futurama. You're not missing anything. Did you watch the recent Beavis and Butthead revival? I watched the movie and a couple of episodes, and then I got bored. And then I stopped. Stanley says it was mostly good. Yeah, I agree. It was better than Futurama. Executive producer Saul Leibowitz says, if you think Futurama was a disappointment, you should have watched Disenchantment. Competent art and writing with unlikable characters. Yeah, I did watch Disenchantment. I watched the first few episodes of Disenchantment, and it was terrible. I agree. Darren Wagner's in the house. This evening bird. Good evening, Darren. If they don't have it, just get the French fries. Just get the fries. The Random Menace's Futurama is not a disaster. They are not as strong. Some are better, some are weaker. Sollywood says, by the way, Disenchantment was created by the Futurama creators. Yeah, well, the Futurama, The Simpsons, I'm aware Disenchantment is there. But let me tell you, they have the look of Futurama and the look of The Simpsons, but they are not The Simpsons. They are not Futurama. Anyway. Admiral Teague says, gotta love Doomcock. Dan Ben says, after Nemesis, there was supposed to be a movie. They didn't make it. There were several shows, canceled shows set after Nemesis. Thomas Potts says, Bird of Prey, because you missed those donations. That made you salty over. I'm sorry, Thomas. I'm sorry. But I found them. I found them on my own. Okay. So now let's go back to Dear Bops. Okay. Dear Bop, find me something discovered when I share web links from YouTube channels like Mojo Watch Culture or websites like Screen Rant. I can get comments that feel like bullying. Do you know why people would hate on someone who posted something from these places? It's not like people who hate them put up a sign saying, don't post from them. We all think differently in the world. Sometimes we might not know people don't like those places. I get it. I understand what's going on here. I think some of the words were auto-corrected, but I think the gist of it is if you post videos or you post links to videos from popular YouTube channels, people complain too much. And you're like asking, well, why would people complain? Sorry, Sassy is barking because Mama Pray's phone is ringing. So people like, why do people get so angry? And you're right, nobody should get angry. But things like Screen Rant and Mojo Watch, these are some of the biggest YouTube channels and the biggest websites. So the people who are interested in this stuff have almost surely already seen it. And if they're not interested in it, then they purposely don't go to these websites because they don't want to see these things. So, when you are on YouTube and you are posting links to people, you don't have to post the popular stuff. You don't have to post the Screen Rants. You don't have to post links to channels that have hundreds of thousands, if not millions of subscribers. Okay? Like, if you really want to help, then help spread the views of the small channels. Help spread videos that most people would never have seen if not for you. Like, I'm just not talking about my videos, but Salty's videos, even Trek Yards. Trek Yards is a big channel to us, but they're not a big channel compared to YouTube. So, share those people's videos. Share quality videos from small creators. When you share a giant creator's video, it's just like, I'm not going to say it's shilling, but it's like you're giving, it's like sharing a Disney video. Disney doesn't need your help. Disney doesn't need your help sharing out their videos. So that's my only thought. My only thought is people get angry because if they wanted to watch that stuff, they already know how to find it. It doesn't mean they're right, but I understand what they're saying. Dear Bob, mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the fairest maiden of all? Yeah, I can't answer that because the word maiden means like non-married young woman, perhaps too young of a woman, and yeah, I wouldn't know. Now, if you ask who's the hottest woman of all, I mean, I could come up with something, but I don't think that's the question. And I know there's a lot of debate what the word fairest even means. Okay, apparently, back in the day, back in the original German, fairest was actually the word beautiful. That the original translation from Cinderella is mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the most beautiful. No, that's what the English translation. The German fairest was beautiful. And if you look it up, fairest is what they used in English, but at the time of the translation, and again, this was in like, I believe, the 1400s, the word fairest actually meant beautiful. It wasn't, they didn't mean white. It had nothing to do with complexion. That the word fairest was a legit synonym of beautiful. Over time, fairest would also get to mean complexion. And in English, now there's debate over whether fairest of them all means who's the palest, whitest skin of all, or whether it still meant most attractive of all. And if you go back to the original, it seems pretty clear they meant attractive. But now it's got its own meaning. I don't know who the fairest of them all is. I can tell you I've certainly, I don't know. It changes. There's plenty of very attractive women out there. I've had my fair share of women that I felt attracted to. There's ridiculousness of, I don't know if it was pheromones, or it's all I can imagine was that some women have pheromones because they've supposedly, and this is stuff they've told me, that they haven't had one quote unquote stalker they've had so many stalkers. And it's like, well, why? And not, these are just guys that come out of nowhere that all of a sudden are professing their undying love for them, and they don't know how to handle it because they didn't, in their mind, they didn't do anything to earn any of it, and it just feels weird to them. And I can understand that. Believe me, I can understand that. On the other hand, as a guy who has been placed under their spell, I didn't know what else to do. I didn't know what else to do. So I just did what I had to do. And well, fuck it. Worst thing they can say is no, but I had to try. And I did, and I tried, and they said no. And they said no again, and they said no again. And then eventually they moved home. And they would still hang out, actually. So, like, it wasn't that it was the end of the world. A couple of times I met up with them, with friends, on weekends away. And they come, and we could still hang out as friends. And we actually talked for a bit afterwards, and you know, things went well, but after a time, you know, one day it turned out to be the last time I'd ever see her, at least for at least 25 plus years. You never know what might happen tomorrow, but you know, and it's very unlikely I'll ever see her again. But holy shit. If only she knew. If only she knew that I still think about it. And I hardly a day goes by. I agree. It's crazy. I shouldn't be thinking on her. But for whatever the reasons, I blame pheromones. I still do. So, who's the fairest maiden of all? She's out there. Has her own life. I hope she doesn't even think about me, 'cause that would just be mighty depressing. Dan Ben says, yeah, watch Moho, Watch Culture, and Screen Rant. I've noticed a lot of people do not like it when someone shares stuff from those places. Some people think they're clickbait. They are. They are clickbait, Dan Ben. Resolute says, if you share corporate videos, most people just think you're a paid shill and don't bother with them. Dan Ben, I remember some people in here have said they don't like Screen Rant articles before. Darth Maul says, mirror, mirror on the wall. Who's got the best booty of them all? AOC, says Darth Maul.
Okay,
She's up there. Resolute Germ says, Darth Maul, it's not possible. She doesn't have one. She does. Dan Ben says, people are overanalyzing. Last in the case, she doesn't have her brain in her head either. Darth Maul says, not that I've researched her for this. She's got a white girl booty. I don't know about that. Resolute Germ says, it doesn't help that those girls spend all day on things like OnlyFans, bleeding money out of those guys. Not the girl I was talking about. The girl I was talking about was a fellow engineer in my college. She was not the typical person. I was always attracted to brunettes. She was a blonde. I was always attracted to the nerds. She was not very nerdy. I was not ever attracted to the, those that partook in certain herbal substances. And she was somebody who partook in those herbal substances. We were very often at odds. And one day I just realized she was everything I was not. And I started dreaming a forbidden dream. Dear Bob, in lieu of your recent difficulties of poo, I have assembled this ode to constipation for you. I need a serious emancipation from this pain called constipation. Okay, I can feel the AI here, and I don't like it. I need serious emancipation from this pain called constipation. To be clear, I was really never in pain. I was suffering, but not pain. Afflicts all from different forms of occupation. No one's free from its difficult captivation. Though I am a man of easy flow, sometimes fall prey and gets its deadly blow. It's a pain in the place, you know what I mean, from the disgusting rut that's laying within. Suffered a lot, made my entire day so grim. Tried and failed, though I was filled to the brim. Exerted pressure more than I could manage. Just failed to utterly to offload the garbage. Yeah, that's a terrible, terrible rhyme. Tried papayas and yogurt, but nothing worked. Glass of hot water in wee hours only irked. When there's no remedy for 2 days, all one does is pass the time with a grim face. Then finally a miracle occurred when no longer the pain suffered, something worked really well, relieved finally from its deadly spell. LLAP, may your morning constitutional be Constitution class. Darth Maul. Thank you, Darth Maul. I hope that this, if you wrote this, then I apologize. I thought it was AI. Dear Bob, are you going to play Starfield or City Skylines 2? I have zero intents to play Starfield. To be honest, I still don't even know what the fuck Starfield is about, and I don't care. City Skylines 2, very possible. I will play it. Although, truth be told, I'm not 100% sure my computer can deal with it. We'll see. We'll see. I don't know if I want to play it. Like, I've been trying to get into City Skylines 1 again for months, and I get a map going, and I start it, but every time, after an hour or so of playing, I get bored and I just say, fuck it. And it's not worth, every time I save it, but then I restart it again. So I don't know. I certainly not Starfield. City Skylines 2 is a maybe, assuming my computer can deal with it. I will try it, I guess. I really don't want to buy it early. Like, I have no desire to give them to give them money early, but maybe. No. If things work out, then yeah. Resolute says Bird likes the phantom booty. Admiral Teague says AOC has the flattest ass ever, and it's 4 feet 10 inches tall. Met her several times. I have a pic of her from behind. No booty at all. Last on the case is the difference between Vice President Harris and AOC is AOC remembers her knee pads. Oh my God. Dan Ben is lolling at the poop. Resolute is LDG. Stop making AI do messed up stuff like this poem. Last son of K says poop. When did Amber Turd enter the conversation? And Darth Maul says there was no AI for him. Okay, then thank you, Darth Maul, for your non-AI poem. Dear Bop, it's me, Zap Brannigan. You ignored my donation. Now I'm going to fire my giant laser at you. No, I got your donation, Zap. I got your donation. Dear Bop, my coworker doesn't agree with me that Morocco is above a shithole country, but below third world. He thinks shithole and third world are the same. Well, there are definitely shithole countries that are not technically third world. Morocco, I guess Morocco technically isn't third world, but yeah, I would. It's a shame what happened regardless, because it's a shame even if it happens in a third world country. But I don't think Morocco counts as a third world country, but you don't want to see it happen. The markets of Morocco, that they're not third world. Dear Bop, who is the dumbest person on Trek culture? That's a good question. Pretty much anyone officially employed by Paramount. Alex Kurtzman. Alex Kurtzman himself is the dumbest person on Trek culture. Resolute Germs is never buy early. Exactly. Gorilla says Admiral T got proof. Lol. Thomas Bot says Karoga is like 300,000th in the world. Admiral Teague says Gorilla, there are mutual world. The two are not equivalent. Resolute Germs says France is a shithole country, but not third world. The two are not equivalent. That is true. Admiral Teague says to Gorilla, thoughts are mutual. Twitter follows. I can find the pic. Admiral Teague says Gorilla, Twitter followers. Twitter followers. Gotcha. Oh, man. Okay, guys. Well, I guess we're here. 6:20. Been going 2 hours. Holy shit, 2 hours and 40 minutes. So I think we're gonna call it a day here, guys. Thank you all so much for hanging out. Thank you for the donations. Thank you for the super chats, the super stickers, kissing Dax. Darth Maul says I stepped away for a bit. Did you see Doomcock Star Trek video? Thoughts? Yeah, I talked about it, Darth Maul. I saw some of it. Basically, I don't care. I have nothing to add. Doomcock has his sources, but at the same time, he says, take it with a grain of salt. I don't really care. I like Doomcock for Friday Night Frolics. I like him for his entertainment, and I listen to his videos just because I find them entertaining. I don't have any additional resources, any belief that they're any that what goes on in them is real or not. He believes them to be real, and I fully believe he believes them to be real. And they might be. I don't care. It doesn't affect me. I'm not going to change my day or my life on the thoughts of what may or may not have been happening in secret. I only care about what they report as public, because if it's not reported as public, then I have no reason to think it'll ever get released or worked on, or any action will be taken. So that it didn't feel like almost 3 hours. I know, but it is. It is. So thank you all again. Hopefully I'll start to get better over the next few weeks. Maybe things will get back more to usual, I hope. And I'll talk to you guys all soon. So, Kapla all, bird out.